Alright guys, we're back at it again for another One Piece video. It's another One Piece live reaction. This time we're on chapter 1164, titled Davy's Blood. We are doing cover requests, so let's see what we have this week. It's Perona chasing a rabbit with a pocket watch. I feel like we've seen this rabbit before. I don't know where. I thought he was a mink or he was somebody on somebody's crew for some reason. But maybe we haven't seen him before. And then we see that she's thinking about Mihawk while she's doing it. Or that's what it looks like. I guess because he's dressed like Mihawk. Yeah. So, next we cut down Oda's note. I saw Perfume's Tokyo Dome show with Nakata-san. Their indescribably amazing style really moved me. Well, that's great for you, Oda. I'm very happy for you. Now let's get into the chapter, guys. Let's see what we've got. I believe at the end of the last chapter we saw Rox, or Davy Dizabek, getting transformed by Dami Reversi into his evil reversed form, where he's gonna, I assume, have wings and big teeth and claws and stuff like Dorian Broggy did, and essentially get a massive boost to his strength, which is going to be really impressive considering he was already on the level of these big people like Kaido, Big Mom, Whitebeard, Roger in this era, right? He was already on their level, essentially, maybe stronger, Harold, right? People like that. Now he's going to get a boost. So let's get in and see exactly what happens. We cut in and we start exactly where we left off. Rox is still lifted in the air by Emu. He's saying, ah. Whitebeard and them are shouting, Rox. Narration, Rox got hit with Dami Reversi. Roger cuts in. Our attacks didn't even phase that spider thing. As Garp, Whitebeard, and Kaido just look on in shock. And then Big Mom says, what in the world? Emu says, now... I'm sorry. I read now. He says, how obstinate, as Rox wheezes. You shouldn't scoff at humans, you beast, he says. That's pretty metal, actually, coming from Rox while he's dying and getting transformed. He's, like, bursting like Conqueror's hockey off of him while Emu's looking at him. And he says, Davy D. Jones. That's the name of the previous king of the world. That is big news, guys. If we have not heard that before... Or if, because we have not heard that before, if that's true, that's actually pretty big news. There was a king of the world before Emu? So, like, in the old world, like, back way before the Void Century and the Ancient Kingdom and all that? Maybe, who knows? We'll have to get more of the actual, I guess, the history to find out. But this is a really cool panel of Rox, like, mid-transformation. Emu then says, insolent fool, that wretch was never king, not for a single moment. Thou hast no place in the fate that binds Mu and Davy. Then you shouldn't be so scared. It's just a name, after all, says Rox. It's crazy. Emu and him do seem to have some real beef. The Davy clan and Emu are apparently beefing because Davy tried to take his throne, or maybe he had the throne before Emu. Rox then says, you've been afraid for a long time, haven't you? Afraid that one day someone's going to inherit Davy's will and fulfill the promise. I wonder who scares you most. Davy D. Jones? Joy Boy? Now, what's interesting there is he's implying by saying that either he knows that Joy Boy also scares Emu, or that is implying that Emu, or that Joy Boy is also of the Davy clan. And then Emu cuts in and says, cease this babble. They shall never resurface, so long as thou fades into oblivion. Davy, Mu has found the perfect soldiers now. A certain nation of gentle and indecisive giants. Giants, you bastard! Stay away from Harold. He just wants peace. Rox standing up for his friends. What a frickin' G, guys. You gotta love Rox. Eames continues. Indeed, this is an unprecedented opportunity. A sovereign this pliable may never appear again. You little, says Rox. This is really great, because this really is showing that Rox is standing up for Harold and what he believes in. While Em is literally like, oh, nope, this guy, he's weak-willed. We can turn him into whatever we want and use him. Let's do that. Thy current deposition is quite similar. Now make haste, Em says to Rox. Put an end to Davy's dream. As he screams out, "Ooh!" as Whitebeard and Big Mom, etc. look on. What the? Rox, as he's thrown to the ground, says Big Mom. What happened? Did it do something to you up there? Rox thinks, damn it, I'm fading. Lin says, huh? as she's looking down at him. I believe this is then Eames saying this. Annihilate Davy's lineage with thy own hand. Snuff out all obstacles on God Valley. And then Big Mom says, is it me or are you bigger? Out of the way. Their blood must be purged from the pages of history, says Rox to Lin-Lin, as he then jumps up and instantly seems to stab Kaido. Ah, Rox, what are you doing? As we just see Kaido's face, like, shaking, and then... Oh, he slams him instantly into the ground. Jeez. Kaido... He's slammed to the ground, looks knocked out. Big Mom jumps to him. Damn you, Rox, aren't we meant to be allies? Boom, absolutely. It looks like he just kicks her right in the face. Sends Big Mom, Lin-Lin back flying right past Whitebeard. Crashes into a wall, Whitebeard looking on. He rushes Whitebeard. We're in your way, Rox, he says as a question. You are, says Davy, or says Rox, as they then clash, Conqueror's hockey bursting everywhere. Except it's Whitebeard clashing with his Quake Fist instead of his Naginata, actually, which is pretty interesting. We then cut to them both glaring at each other with their hockey spitting everywhere. We then cut to a scene of just God Valley. Boom, another big crack and an explosion. What the... As one of the mountain parts of God Valley begins to fall. The mountain's falling. It comes down. We get a panel of Rox and some of the other pirates running. We get a scene of Blackbeard being carried by his mother, who, forgive me, guys, I can't remember what her name is. Them still running off. It then cuts to narration, or probably the Marines on an intercom, saying, all warships at the northeast coast have... and then it fuzzes out. Get away from the island. All ships pull back. And then northeast coast. That was close, says the Celestial Dragons. Who is responsible? This unforgivable act must be punished. Everyone hurry, says the Marines. Don't set sail without us, or you'll be put to death, say the Celestial Dragons. We move to the southwest region, where we see Rayleigh and some of his... I'm sorry, I got... In the middle of looking at this panel, something caught my eye. I'll talk about it in a second. Let me finish reading through these two panels. Southwest region. Come on, Rayleigh. This island's toast. Roger's safe, right? He shouts, looking back towards them, while still carrying Shocky. And then we cut to some other pirates running. Treasure, treasure. Isn't this incredible? Why, it's a dead end. Move it. It looks like the Roger pirates who are running away doing that. But what caught my eye is one of the Roger pirates, it would appear, has a set of bat-like wings. But I don't think he's Dami reversied because he looks fine other than that. So, and because I don't think anybody else has been Dami reversied, right? I don't remember if they have. I don't think we've seen anybody else. So that's kind of interesting. Maybe he just has a fruit that gives him those wings. Like just the bat fruit. Who knows? We then cut to... I think this is Dragon on the ground. It says, damn it, I couldn't even save one tiny baby. Where did he go? And he is probably in that one of the chests we are looking at right now being carried away in the prior panels by the Roger Pirates. That's Dragon crying on the ground. Wait, Kuma. Give it a rest, says Ivankov. It would be too risky to keep trying to save people. Kumachi, says Jenny. Kuma, there still might be more people out there. Oh, I found one. As he's looking over, and it seems to be... It might be Captain John. Because the next thing we see, at least, is Captain John. But he might be looking at, like, Dragon or somebody over there. We then cut to Captain John saying, damn that Gansui. Shiki, says Gansui. Asshole, you'll never make it off this island alive, you hear? Gee ha 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 ha. No one gets the drop on me, says Shiki. Everyone to the coast. We need stretchers. We can't. The forests are on fire. And then we see Rox chasing after, I'll be honest, guys. I still can't remember her name. His wife. And then it says, Zebek, he looks... So, you lost? She says to him. I'm sorry. It's our fault you faced that thing to save us, even though you weren't ready yet. Teach, she says, holding him close as she's still running. We have no choice but to jump into the sea and swim. I won't let the Davy clan end here. We'll survive no matter what. Escapees spotted on the coast. Ka-chunk, as a gun instantly loads up and gets, or cannons get ready to shoot. Cannons from the Marine ship shoot out at it. I mean, it's shooting at her, Blackbeard, and Rox. And then in that minute, or in that moment when she's about to get hit, Kuma jumps in and poofs her away and saves. Kuma saves Blackbeard's life and his mother. So now I'm interested as to what happens to her, because assuming she didn't get hit by anything, she shouldn't be dying. So I don't know why we're not going to know where she's at later in the story. But then we just see, it looks like Kuma poofs them away, and then I'm guessing he poofs himself, because we get a third poof. But there's no way he does, right? Or if he does, he moves himself backwards on the island, because he wouldn't have left Ivankov in them. But then we also see a slash from Rox. Big explosion. His slash cuts all the way through the Marine ship that we see in front there, which is pretty awesome. Emu looks on, thinking, Davy, next, extinguish all those who remain on the island. Vice Admiral Garp, please hurry, say the Marines on the intercom. I told you to get the hell out of here. How long are you going to stick around, says Garp. Roger, where are you going? Roger says, I'm fine. Let me know when everyone's aboard. So our main guys are standing out taking watch to make sure that everybody's good. Yeah, stop it, Rox, say a bunch of the pirates running away. Rox, why does he look like that? Then we see Garp and Roger looking back. Bring it on, Rox, they both say as they approach him. Davy, says Emu. Whoosh, as he flies in with his big wings, landing in front of Garp and Roger. What the hell have you turned into? I won't let you go after my crew. What's with that expression? Please, says Davy, or Rox, whatever we want to call him, kill me. As Garp and Roger look at him confused. And then he rushes in at both of them, and then it says the climax of the God Valley incident. And we don't seem to be on break, with Roger and Garp both prepared to attack him. We don't know where Whitebeard went, but I imagine Whitebeard either escaped during this or is helping the other members of the crew escape, or he is also going to help out here since he's in the same kind of level with those guys. I would guess since they were saved... Oh, you know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering if Rox somehow... Based on how it looks, Rox probably didn't end up hurting her or cutting her at all, so she looks like she's safe. I don't really know how she could end up dying, but I'm curious to know where they got sent to. And I'm curious to know what happens to Kuma here, because we now know Rox runs off after this. I'm betting Kuma just ended up probably mostly getting saved by Rox. And then he's now going to probably poof himself off the island after Ivankov and Ginny, because we know he does it with them too, because they all end up in the same place. And there's no other way they would have ended up there. So, but that last poof, I would think would have been Kuma poofing himself, but maybe backwards. Maybe poofing cannonballs? I don't know. I'm curious to see how this kind of worked itself out, and then where Blackbeard and his mother went. I'd like to see what happens with Dragon from here. And then really, it's just waiting to see what happened with Whitebeard. Because other than that, it looks like Big Mom and Kaido are mostly knocked out. They'll get back up and escape, inevitably. Along with Whitebeard. And probably Gansby's going to get off the island. Captain John should get off the island. Shiki. They're all going to, from what we understand, most of them escape God Valley. Because we know Captain John gets mutinied later on when he gains his own treasure and makes his own map and hides it and all, because we've already gotten that lore about him. Gansby could die here. We have no idea. I imagine he probably died somewhere else in the New World, and that's why Moria ended up with him later. I don't think Moria came here and found him. So, possible, but I don't think so. But you never know. Let's take a good look real fast at the island from above and around the best we can, because I remember there being a silly theory a while back that God Valley could be Thriller Bark, because I think they're both from the west, right? And let me tell you, God Valley does not look like Thriller Bark from what I'm seeing, even with the mountains getting destroyed, right? You know what I mean? But anyways, I'm very excited to see how this kind of continues. Honestly, Rox no-diffing Kaido and Big Mom is kind of crazy, but at the same time, we know that they're on a level probably below Whitebeard, Rox, Garp, Roger at that time, like a step just below them. So it kind of makes sense for him to be able to beat them up pretty easily when he's getting bolstered by Emu and the Damir Versi. But definitely a really cool chapter. Rox is a really cool guy. He honestly seems like a really the worst thing he's done is when he mugged Loki. He just beat up and cut a baby a young, like a child for no reason. Other than to, I guess, piss his father off. I don't know. Other than that, dude, seems like a good guy. He looks out for his friends' values. He looks out for their standing. He cares about his own family, and I don't think he wants to actually hurt Roger or Garp here. He actually thinks they're both really cool and wish they had joined his crew as well because they're all badass people. So it's pretty. He's a pretty awesome guy. It's really going to be crazy to see him get killed here. But seeing young Garp and Roger is really awesome in their prime, and getting to see them stand up against rocks like this in these panels, really cool. Like the side by side. I'm looking forward to seeing them fight him. Wow. Good chapter. I think the biggest drop we probably got was the information on him saying that Davy D. Zebek, or Davy D. Jones, was once the king of the world, and then saying if he's more scared of Davy D. Jones or Joy Boy. And then making the valid, or the exact point that one day, you know, somebody's going to inherit the will of Davy, and then they show Blackbeard on that page, so we already know. And then he brings up Davy D. Jones and Joy Boy in the next panel together. I think that's Oda very literally directly telling us, guess what? Like we've been expecting, Davy D. Jones, his will, Blackbeard is taking that up, taking that on, right, that mantle, and Luffy is Joy Boy. And that is exactly why Emu had both of their wanted posters cut up when we first saw Emu. And Shirahoshi, because she is an ancient weapon and very important, and the Mermaid Princess, who was also against them from what we can tell back in the Void Century. So they all make sense. And then the Vivi is because of Nefertari Lily. It's all kind of starting to set into place why those figures are so prominent. But really, that's it. I don't want to kind of run this too long and make it a super long video since we've already gotten through the entire chapter. I might go through and make another video on this one, maybe talk about some of the things I noticed. Mostly like that kind of conclusion, stuff like that. But really good chapter, all in all. Really good art by Oda. I mean, it seems like we're really getting into the climax of God Valley finally. Maybe a couple more chapters here. But even after we get out of God Valley, guys, we still need to go back to Harald and see what happened with Harald next, and then how Harald was killed. And probably Dami reversied himself when all the Gods Knights or whoever showed up there and did that nonsense. And then we got to figure out the rest of Loki's backstory if there's anything else he's going to tell us. So we've still got some chapters left in this flashback. And if I had to guess, let me actually see if I can find it really fast. I believe we've been... Let me see. How long have we been in this flashback? Since chapter 1152 is what I'm pretty sure it was. And this is 1164. So this should be the, 12th or 13th chapter. I believe Odin's flashback, guys, was 14 chapters. So we are without a doubt beating that. And if I'm not mistaken, I heard we have not seen Luffy in a chapter in months. And I would believe it. I don't think we're going to see the current day Straw Hats or anything going on in Elbaf until well into next year. Because now that we're in November, guys, and it looks like we're getting a chapter next week. So probably, if I had to guess, we'll have it out by the 6th or 7th of next week, 7th or 8th at the latest, right? We might get one more chapter after that this month, and then we might get one or two. We are probably, I'm expecting no more than probably 4 chapters for the rest of the year. One probably next week, then a break, probably then 1 or 2 more if we're lucky there. Maybe 5 chapters, 4 or 5, because when we hit December, we typically don't get that many. Same thing for January. They're typically lower chapter months. So I believe we are going to be in the flashback until next year. I think Oda is going to want to start out next year very strong and as quickly as he can get out of it. So I think that is why he's trying to speed up the pace. He wants to end the flashback towards the end of this year, start of next year, and start hot with Elbaf just kind of burning and going in the year 2026. And then we'll start progressing through the rest of Elbaf, and from Elbaf into who knows what arc we have next. Is it is it Laugh-Tale? Are we even going to the final island? Are we doing the big war? Do we need to go and handle Blackbeard or something? Are we going to Marijois? There's a whole lot going on, so we'll have to figure it out. But anyways, like I said, I'll try to get out another video or something else. If you stuck around this long, please go ahead and give the video a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if there's any other content you guys want me to put up, and let me know if there's anything else you guys want me to do for these videos. Likes and comments are the best way for me to see involvement, honestly, through YouTube, and subscriptions are just really helpful for the channel. So I appreciate it. I hope everybody's had a good week, and I hope everybody has a good week to come. Go out, spend some time with your family, somebody you care about, and just have a great day. All right, later, guys. Bye.